Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little dose of reality. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. Tonight, we got a good one for you. Tuesday therapy. Haven't had one in a long time, so I decided to have one. I know I told you I think it was 2 weeks ago, I told y'all we were going to have one. But something came up. My daughter was pregnant. She was expecting a baby at the time. And lo and behold, she had her baby. I got a new granddaughter and born on April 11th. April 11th, she was born to greet her in the recovery room. So it was just a great experience. I got 4 grandsons, 1 granddaughter. So she's our princess. So really happy about that, excited about that. And I'm also excited about the Miami Dolphins football team. We got upcoming draft. We've got upcoming season. Still a lot to go. Still a lot of things to happen before the season does start. And there's some news that had broke. Everybody's aware that Terran Armstead has retired. We got Kalis Campbell going over to Arizona. Now we've got this, as you all recall, the Chris Greer press conference where Jalen Ramsey is on the trade block. So we'll get into that. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about, and I'd like to get you guys involved. You guys come up here on the panel, and I dropped the link. If you want to join, come on up, and I'll have you on. So, hello,
Hey, Steve.
Anthony. How you doing, brother?
It's been a while. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just so happy you were able to get on the panel tonight, man. I know we haven't had any Tuesday therapy in a long time, so now we've got it. So I'm happy you were able to get on. And anybody else that wants to join, that's in the chat. I see Dolphin Gang Entertainment's in there, brother. I appreciate you for joining tonight, and thank you, George. But yeah, anybody wants to come up and join the panel, you're welcome. We can talk everything Miami Dolphins. The draft is coming up. I'd like to get in a little bit of that. I'd like to get a little bit into maybe Chris Greer's last press conference that he had. But remember, we may not always agree everything Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on is we are all Dolphins. Anthony, what's up, brother? Tell me what you got.
Honestly, like I'm to the point with Greer specifically that I'm not taking anything he says at face value. Like, I do not trust anything he says. Like, for these press conferences, I can't believe he says he trusts Ashton Davis. Like, that Ashton Davis and Melifanu are starting safeties. I'm like, how ridiculous. Melifanu's injured all the time, and Ashton Davis got released by the Jets for a reason. He wasn't that good. So Greer, Jesus Christ, this guy's an idiot. Like,
yeah, I agree. I can't believe he said those words. That he's happy with the safety when we got our 2 starters. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Malafanu, he's been hurt. I think he's only played 10 games 1 year out of his career. And then you've got Ashton Davis, who's basically a special teams guy. Comes in here and there. Yeah, he's made some impactful plays. He's made. I grant you that. But these guys are not. These guys are not starters.
they're depth players.
They're depth players. Exactly, 100%. So I agree with you on that point. How about the? Let me ask you this, Anthony. How about the Jalen Ramsey thing? What's your take on that?
For me, with that whole situation, Jalen Ramsey has I don't blame Greer, and I don't when I look at the mishandling of this situation, it's it's Jalen Ramsey's track record where he, after a year or so, he gets bored. Like he has this issue. He did it with the Jaguars. He did it with the Rams and stuff like that. Even though they made the playoffs with the Jaguars, he demanded a trade. And then, even though he won a Super Bowl with the Rams, he still demanded a trade. So to me, I'm not blaming Greer. I'm focusing on the track record of the player being unhappy in situations when they were making the playoffs or he won a Super Bowl and stuff like that. So this is his history with, like, he has this issue. He doesn't want to stay in one place. He's never happy. Like Jalen Ramsey's never happy. That, like, I'm not saying Greer's not at fault, but you have to look at the track record of a guy like Ramsey demanding trades after good situations and stuff like that. The Jaguars were constantly making the playoffs with him and stuff like that. They weren't winning a playoff game, but they were making the playoffs every year and stuff like that. And he won a Super Bowl with the Rams. That one makes no sense to me. You just won a Super Bowl with a team. Why do you demand? Maybe he knew they didn't have money, cap room to sign him. If they trade for him, doesn't that show they had cap room? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and like you said, he has a history of this, and I do blame Chris Greer. I blame him 100%. He's the one that signed him. And what we get a year? I know he was hurt the first year, 6 games or so. So we only got like a year and a half out of him. And he's one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league. Whose fault is that? That's Greer's fault. So
yeah, no, I blame Greer. No, I blame Greer for. Did we give up a first-round pick for him?
I don't remember what we gave up for him, but we gave him Hunter Long. I know that. We gave him Hunter.
We gave him Hunter Long in a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, in a 5th round.
Which is not a lot. Hunter
Long matter. The problem is it's not a lot, but look what has he done? He's played a year and a half, and he's demanded all this money. He got an extension last year, right?
Yeah, and
he's past 30. So, he's in the decline. He was starting to decline a little bit last year. He even got a little bit banged up.
There's reports coming out. Apparently they wanted to move him to safety. They knew he was declining and wanted to move him to safety, but his ego doesn't want to admit that he's losing. I think that's what's the issue with football players in general. They have this switch in their head that refuses to admit that they're losing a step. That's what's happening with him.
Right.
Oh, Hunter Long in the 3rd.
Yeah, George said it was Hunter Long in the 3rd. Thank you, George. Appreciate it, brother. But yeah, so it's all Chris Greer, man. He did the same thing with Bradley Chubb. He knew his injury history. Look, how many years we get out of Bradley Chubb, right? Same thing.
2.5 years.
Yeah. And then we paid him all this money, right? And then we signed Terron Armstead. Now, Terron Armstead was the best offensive lineman we had on this team in a long, long time. He's going in the Hall of Fame. He was 5th best lineman last year, okay? When he's on the field, he's outstanding. He's in his leadership. Now, that's the great thing about Terron Armstead and what's going to be missed, not only his play, but his leadership, man. And now he's retired, and now we got Patrick Paul stepping up, who was basically a project when they drafted him last year. So
yeah,
now,
for me, I don't want to give up on Patrick Paul too soon, Steve. This is what I hate about our fan base. We just drafted it. Was it last year we drafted him?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and they already want to draft Calvin Banks or Will Campbell. I'm like, let these kids play.
I agree. I agree with you 100% on that, Anthony. When
it comes to, I've said I like Campbell and Banks. To me, they're guards in the NFL. They're not. I've seen their tape. They don't have the feet to deal with these they're not going to be able to deal with these elite pass rushers on the outside. I don't care about the arm length. It's more the foot speed they have. They don't have the foot speed to handle the guys like a Myles Garrett. They're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
Like
right.
They're going to be able to handle the elite pass rushers on the inside, but I don't think they can do that on the outside, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is why I don't understand. I don't understand the obsession with these two guys. I understand we need offensive line help, but we don't need a tackle. These two, we don't need guys who are going to be they're being drafted they're going to be gone anyways by the time we draft. The Saints need an offensive tackle because Ramczyk is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And the Patriots are going to draft Will Campbell too. So they're going to be gone. And no guard to me is worth number 13. I'm not going to draft Gray Zabel or Tyler Booker at 13. The only way I do that is trade down with a team. If Tyler Warren or Shedeur are available there, we trade down with the Steelers or the Chargers, who need a tight end or a quarterback, who can give us a third-round pick. I don't know why people are unrealistic. We're not going to get a first and a second from a team. At best, we can get a first and a third. I'm being realistic.
Who?
For the 13th
first and a
pick.
second for who? Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
For the 13th pick. I've been saying this.
Right.
At the max, we're going to get a first and a third. We're not going to get a first and a second. When I see people do that trade, I'm like, that's unrealistic. They're not going to get. They would rather give us their third. And I think we can get a good offensive lineman in the second or third round. To be honest, like this offensive line class is deep on the inside. To be honest, and I've been saying this. We need to draft the right tackle to replace Austin. Austin can't stay healthy either. So this is why I've been saying, and I think we need to draft this kid from Boston College, Trapilo or whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The right tackle. He has experience on both sides. I watched his tape and stuff like that, and he's played. Let's see. He played his freshman year and the first half of his sophomore year. He played left tackle, but they ended up getting a better left tackle in the portal, and they transferred him. The rest of his time at Boston College before this draft, he was playing right tackle the whole time. So he can play both sides. And honestly, I would rather, since Tua's a left-hander, the right side to me is more important than the left. Like if you're a left-handed quarterback, isn't the right side the right tackle going to be your blind side, and the right?
That's correct.
The left,
that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see Miami draft a guard or a tackle in the first round?
No. I would rather trade down with a team like the Chargers, who have been they want to trade up for a Colston Loveland because they feel that he's going to be gone by the time they draft, because the Colts behind us want a tight end too and stuff like that. And the teams who need a tight end in the top 15, the top 20 are the Colts and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers like Bretton Strange, but they don't think he's a starter. So they need a starter. So they might need to draft a tight end. So he's going to be Loveland is going to be gone by the time they draft, because Tyler Warren's projected to be in the top 10 and stuff like that. And this is where I'm saying I think we trade down. I think we're doubling. This is why I said earlier, I don't believe anything Chris Greer said. I think he just said that just to say it. I don't think he believes anything he says sometimes. So I think what we're going to do is double down. We're going to be doubling down on safety and corner and to be honest, there's the defensive line class is actually pretty deep. You can get a good defensive tackle in the later rounds too, and stuff like that. So I think what we do is we trade down with the Chargers. We get their 84 and then we draft Trey Amos at 20. Are the Chargers 23 or 22? Where are they? Can you look at the? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Steve.
I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, but like I said, I would rather. I like Will Johnson, but his injury history scares me, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's only soft tissue injuries, right?
No,
nothing major.
He's actually had knee injuries too. He had a knee injury his freshman year.
I didn't know that.
And to be honest, this is why, to me, when it comes to the guys who have an injury history, to the point where I've actually taken Will Johnson out of the first round on my boards because of the injury history.
Well, here's the thing. He's got an injury history. That's an ideal candidate for Chris Grier.
I know that. No, but in general, when it comes to the first round players that have a serious injury concern to me, I've taken them on my big board. I've taken them out of the first round. I still see them as top 60 picks, but I don't see them as first round picks because the injuries scare me.
Mm-hmm.
And if we say at 13, I think we get a pass rusher because I don't trust.
You think we get an edge? You think we get an edge?
Yeah, I think it's going to be either Shamar Stewart or Mike Green.
You know what? I've been saying that for a while now. That I would. Now I'm not saying they are because we don't know what they're going to draft, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if they do draft an edge because of the Mike McDaniel loves it. He said he likes to get edge rushers in the draft, and Chris Grier, they love their edge rushers. So, and you know what? I don't think it would be a bad idea to draft an edge rusher, and here's why I say that.
Top is a speed rusher. We need a power guy.
Well, here's the point. You got Jalen Phillips. We don't know if is he going to be 100% at the start of the year? We don't know. And how is he going to react after 2 injuries, right? In 2 years. Then you got Bradley Chubb. You know, his injury history, and then he didn't even play all of last year. Is he going to be ready at the beginning of the year? Is he, could he possibly get injured again? It's a high probability that he could, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if I know we got who we have. We have Kamara, we have Grayson Murphy, we have Quentin Bell. So I mean, we do have some in-house, but
I'm not relying on a 7th round pick and undrafted free agents, to be honest.
Well, no, me either. Chris Grier in this draft, he's going to have to hit 3 starters, not just contributors, impactful players, starters that are going to make the all rookie team or all pro or something. He's going to have to get 3 starters in this draft, buddy. 3.
Yeah, and this is why this is why I would prefer Shamar Stewart. He's a power. We have the speed rusher and Chop already. We need a power rusher on the other side. And Shamar, let's be honest, Shamar Stewart, they underestimate his speed a little bit because he's so big. He's 6'5", 285. No, 6'6", 285. They underestimate how he was a top. I followed this kid since high school, actually. He was the number 1 pass rusher in high school, coming out of high school, and he was a speed rusher, but he added more weight because they were in Texas A&M, they wanted him to play defense inside out and stuff like that. And people criticize me for saying this. I don't care about the production. How Texas, when I watch that tape, I don't blame him or Shamar Turner or that defensive line for the lack of production, like individual production for those players. How Texas A&M runs that defense with Mike Elko, they care more about overall production of the defensive line rather than individual stats for the player. So they want the over. They care more about pressure rates than actually getting home and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and for me, the sack. Do you agree with me, Steve? The sack is the most overrated stat when it comes to these pass rushers.
Yeah, to a degree, for sure, for sure. And it just depends on when they get the sack, right? What time of the in the game is it, or how impactful
Yeah,
it is at
no,
that time.
and for me,
But I
his
agree.
sack, most of his for most of his sacks were at critical moment, like in the third or fourth quarter. That's when he got his sacks. They're not in the first quarter where the sacks really don't mean as much. His sacks were like he got a sack. He sacked Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe, the quarterback for Alabama, who's in this draft, 3 times in the fourth quarter, separately.
Oh wow!
So
Yeah.
and for when you look at defensive linemen and you see the lack of production for them, does that worry you, or is there something you actually pay attention to more when it comes to a defensive lineman when you look at the draft?
Yeah, sure. I definitely look at his production, of course. I mean,
But is it one of more important metrics that you look at, or is more about the traits?
Go ahead. What were we going to say?
For you, do you prefer looking at the traits rather than the production? Because in general, when you're drafting a pass rusher, it's not. Some of these guys are low production and stuff like that.
Right. I look at the traits. I look at the the tangibles with them. But I also look at the production as well, and then I kind of combine it. This is how I would do it. Look, I'm going to be quite frank. I don't go watching college film or any of that stuff and do breakdowns. I don't do that. But if I was to do that, what I would look for is I would definitely look for their traits. Look how they, their mechanics and
their potential and stuff like that.
Yeah, their potential and stuff like that. But I also, because everything's in context, right? But I also like to look at their production as well, and then I look at both of them and then combine the two. Would they be able in the pros in that next level in an NFL? Is he going to be able to step up? Is he going to come up a notch?
I'm gonna use this example. We talk about Myles Garrett. He went to Texas A&M. He didn't have a ton of production when he was in college. His production didn't kick up till he got into the. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
His production didn't kick up till he got into the NFL because of the way, like I said, in general, when Texas A&M runs their defenses the past few years, they don't care about individual production. It's more, or sacks specifically. They care about more pressure rate, and that's the stat I look at. The stat I look at, if I pay attention to production, is more the pressure rate than the sack, because sack is telling you he got there, but if you're putting pressure on the quarterback, you're
you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Anthony. Let me invite Shake Money. He should be on now. Shake, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? How you doing this fine, wonderful day?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good. What do you have to say about the Miami Dolphins? For the upcoming season. We got the draft coming up. The Chris Greer's press conference. What do you have to say about all this?
Well, you know what I find funny is a keen observation is the fact that he said, "Well, Xavier Howard was my first pick." When it comes to the picks that were home run hitters,
he takes credit for them. He doesn't take responsibility for
Anthony. Shake is talking right now.
Oh, he cut off a little bit.
No, I got Shake. I got Shake on here.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So and then when the other drafts, he says, "Oh, well, I kind of defer to my."
Oh, you are breaking up a little bit, Shake. Shake.
Yeah, I'll hold on.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'll go on the other one because this
Yeah. Come back in. All right, brother.
Right.
Thank you. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I agree with Shake. I noticed that with Greer. He deflects responsibility when the picks fail. He says it's the fault of the collective.
Yeah.
When the picks don't work out, but when picks like Xavier Howard, Christian Wilkins, and Javon Holland work out, he takes credit for them and stuff like that. But when they fail, it's like it seems like he's obfuscating responsibility. You agree?
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't hold himself accountable. He doesn't take responsibility. He threw everybody under the bus. You know, he said, "Well, I defer to I guess I have to." Don't quote what I'm saying, but he said something like to the effect, "Well, you know, maybe I shouldn't defer to coaches or something like that," is what he said. So basically, he threw everybody under the bus. He doesn't take full responsibility when he was the guy making the choices, not the coaches. Okay, that's a bunch of bullcrap. I do not like the guy at all. Not at all. He has no integrity. None. He's a liar. You know, I mean, you could tell. You know, you just by observing him when he was up there at the podium. You know, you could see it. You know, his body language. You know,
Yeah, and I've said this multiple times, joking around. He has to have something on. Like, I'm being serious. He must have something on what's his name, on Ross, for him to last. He's been here for 30 years. He was here
20
when
years,
Huizinga was here.
20 years.
No, he was the head of the scouting department when Huizinga was here.
No, he was here in 1998. Was his first official year.
Oh, so it was 98?
Yeah.
Oh, so
he was still here with Huizinga.
98. No, actually, my bad. 2000. It was actually 2000. So 25 years.
So 25 years. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been. Was Huizinga the owner in 2000 still?
Owner was he was from 97 to 08. He was the owner, Huizinga.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been here from the previous regime. So
right.
And this is what I don't Shake. Me and you talk about this sometimes too. This is what the having Greer this long, or having the same front office for a long time, or the scouting department, shows that Ross doesn't know how to hire people. Like he what is it called? He delegates too much, and sometimes the people who he hires to hire these people are not choosing the right people.
And you know, the training staff has been here since 2016.
Yeah, wow. And look at how many players we've had injured the past 10 years.
I don't think honestly, I don't think that has to. It might have somewhat of a to do with the training staff, but I think it's just Greer, man. He hires people who has an injury history.
Yeah, you're right. Because listen, a trainer like what's the saying goes? You could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. They could tell these players all the right things to do, how to treat their body, but if players aren't going to implement what the trainer's telling them to do, it's a moot point.
Good point.
Yeah, and this is where honestly, I hope eventually they realize Greer shouldn't be. I've been saying this, Steve and Shake, that Greer should be part of the financial team in the football operations department. He's not a drafting GM and stuff like that. Even though he started out as a scout, he seems like he's more of these, like he's more like an Andy Ellsberg for the Heat, if you know who that is, the general manager.
You're talking about Ellsberg. You're talking about actually whatchamacallit is that like that? Brandon Short. He's the cap guy.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think Greer should be working hand in hand with Shore and stuff like that in the financial department of the football operations, and allow this guy, the assistant GM, who we brought for a reason from the Chiefs, to be the actual GM who does the drafting, because he knows what he's looking at when it comes to talent and stuff like that. Marvin Allen and stuff like that, and hire more people who know football. Like this is what this franchise does: half-ass everything. They don't. They either fire the coach or fire the GM. They don't fire both of them. Aren't the coach and GM usually connected to each other? Shaken, or is that a wrong way to think about it?
Well, they
Shake,
should
you
be.
want to answer that? Yeah.
Well, they should be
right.
connected.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I think the problem with this organization is and Stephen Ross has said it. You know, he runs it like a corporation, right? Like a committee. You know, everybody has a say, which is fine, but this is a football organization. There should be one man in charge that makes a decision whether yes or no. Period. That's it. Listen to everybody.
You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
There you go. Too many cooks in the kitchen, man. And that's the problem with this organization. And as you said, Anthony, I'm hoping Marvin Allen and Champ, who they brought in, Champ Kelly, and those guys, I hope they have somewhat of an input on this draft. I think
Kelly, they brought in who's Champ Kelly?
Is it Champ Kelly, Shake? The guy they brought in? Chip Kelly or Champ Kelly?
For the coaching, offensive coach?
No. He came in as an assistant. An assistant,
like a consultant.
Oh, are you talking about? He came from Houston, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't Kelly. I forgot what his name. It's a weird name, but I know what you're talking about.
Wait,
yeah, no. This is what we need to do. Like I said, successful organizations who win Super Bowls do this. The Chiefs, I've actually looked at their front office setup. They have they have football operations, but what they do is the football side, the scouts and stuff are separated from the people who do the finances and stuff like that, like the cap.
Here you go, guys. His name is Champ Kelly. Yeah. Anthony Champ Kelly. Yeah. His position is senior personnel executive. As a player, he played with the Lexington Horsemen 2003 to 2006. He went to Kentucky in college. He's been with the Denver Broncos as a college scout. He was an assistant coordinator of pro and college scouting in 2008 to 2009 with the Broncos. Assistant director of pro personnel 2010 to 2014. He was with the Chicago Bears, director of pro scouting for a year. He was assistant director of player personnel for 3 years with Chicago. Then he was with the Raiders, assistant general manager with the Raiders.
Oh, he was under Mike Mayock?
Yes, from 2022 to 2024. And then he was also the interim general manager in 2023 with the Raiders. And now he's with the Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is what I'm saying. Like, successful franchises who win Super Bowls, like, I hate them, but I'm going to give them credit. The Patriots knew how to run a front office. They had, with a football operations portion, they had people who were dealing with the finances and the cap, and then they separated the people who scouted and were doing the drafting. The general manager wasn't part. They had completely different people, power structures within the football operations department. That's what the Dolphins need to do. But like you said, Ross cares more about a collective than he wants robots. He wants robots. He doesn't want people to have their own opinions and stuff like that.
Well, not that. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead, Shake.
Well, you got it half right, but anyway, so listen, you got 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons where season tickets were you were on a waiting list to get season tickets. That's a win in Ross's book.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's all marketing with him. It's all the monies. As long as he's making money, he's and I'm sorry, but that's not.
That's not a good way to
He's
run a franchise.
no, he's running it like a business. He's running it like a corporation, as I should say. But it's a football organization, so that's the problem with the front office, in my opinion. But
yeah, and this is what I kind of hope he sells the rest of the team to Josiah, the guy who's the guy from the Nets, because I understand people panic when they hear he's the owner of the Nets, but look at the Nets. Even though they haven't made the playoffs, they're developing young talent. Like they're building their young talent, and they're going to be a young playoff team in the next 3 years and stuff like that. And that's
right.
And he's hiring the right basketball people to run the front office. It seems like Ross doesn't know how to do that. Like he hires too many financial experts to be general managers and stuff like that in our franchise.
Well, that's obvious. That's obvious. So let's talk about the draft. Let's talk a little bit about the draft. We got the draft coming up. We've got 10 picks. I want to get you guys takes. What do you? I'll give you my take, and then I'm gonna let you guys go at it with your takes. But here's my take. Whomever they draft at 13, it's going to be a need. Whoever they draft, whether it's cornerback, safety, guard, defensive tackle, those are all holes that we need to be filled. So, you know what? I don't care who they draft in the first round, in number 13. I really don't care. As long as he's an impactful player. He's got to be the starter. He's got to be an impact, not just a contributor, but he needs to make a big impact this year. That's what I care about, those first 3 picks. I don't care what positions they're at. Safety, cornerback, it don't matter. They have to be impactful players on this football team. Guys, what's your take? Start with you, Anthony.
Knowing him, he'll probably draft a position where it's crowded in the room, whatever. He'll probably draft a wide receiver, or probably draft somewhere that we don't have a need. One thing about Chris Greer, when you think he can't disappoint you, he says, "Here, hold my beer."
Yeah, that's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Anthony, how about you? What do you say? Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry. I'm watching TV while I was on mute and stuff like that, so I have to mute it. For me, I'd rather I'd rather trade down and draft. Like I said, we need to double down on corner. If we're trading Jalen Ramsey, we're going to need to draft 2 corners. And I don't trust these 2 backups. One guy who has an injury history and a guy who the Jets let go for a reason that wasn't that good. So we need to double draft 2 corners and 2 safeties in this draft. So I would rather trade down, get extra picks, and draft corner and safety.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying corner and safety rather than the trenches, because to me, I'm thinking the new way. Like the old, I understand that it's important to build the trenches first, but being that this is a pass-heavy league, I would rather build from the back end to the front and stuff like that. Have a bigger, a superstar, a great back end, a decent linebacking core, and a good to great defensive line. Like I would rather have the defensive backfield be the focal point of our defense than the trenches. Like
okay.
That's how the league is moving towards, to be honest. Being it that's the majority of the league is pass heavy and stuff like that, you would think it would be more a more successful philosophy to build your back end first, then the defensive line and linebackers. Steve, or
Yeah.
you guys still go by the old adage, building from the trenches first, then.
Well, I've got mixed emotions on that, if you're asking me, when it comes to building the trenches. I used to be an advocate of building the trenches, from the inside out. But a lot of the research I've been doing, and a lot of and a lot of the way that the defenses and offenses the defenses are changing, and the offenses are having to adapt. You still have to build the trenches, but I
It's not
think
as important.
it's important, but you don't need a bunch of all pros on the offensive line, right? All you
Yeah.
need is one or two good, one really good player, like we did. We had Taron Armstead, and then the rest can be really solid players, which we don't have a balanced array of players on the offense. Solid players. We didn't. We had one guy that was good at pass blocking, but he was terrible at run blocking. And we had one guy that was good at run blocking, but he was terrible at pass blocking. There was not a balance. And as long as you have that one good guy that's good all around, I mean, he's really, really good at pass blocking, run blocking, and then you have some solid guys that are not good in any one area. They're just solid all the way around, right? They're good at pass blocking, good at running, but they're not great. I think you'd be okay, right? Because the way that the defenses that are evolving, they're changing, is in coverages. And as you said, they're playing the two high safeties. They're playing, they're playing the linebackers back 6 or 7 yards, and they're trying to get at the passer, right? So what they're trying to do is they're dictating to the offense. You're
What
not
they
going to
want them
beat
to
us with
do.
a Yeah, they're gonna say, you're gonna have to beat us by running in the inside. You're gonna have to run the ball. You're gonna have to take the ball down the field methodically, and we're gonna be waiting for a mistake for you to make.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're gonna score on us, is if you take that ball down and methodically by running it, by pounding the rock, and maybe you get a good, maybe that opens up the long ball, right? Because the long ball has gone down since 2019. The
Yeah.
long ball. The quarterbacks that are having success are the quarterbacks that can go off script, that are mobile, and they can throw outside the numbers, and they can throw the long ball successfully. Those
Yeah.
are the guys that are successful.
Yeah, and this is where I've been saying this too when it comes to the building the back end first, is in general the the what I've noticed too, the trend too, is you're not seeing teams play with a lot of three linebackers anymore. It's more five DBs, either three safeties or three corners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're Linda. They're an outlier, in my honest opinion. I think the majority of the team, the Chiefs were a pass-heavy team that won the Super Bowl. The Eagles are going to be an outlier. I think that most of the teams that are going to win the Super Bowl the next couple of years are going to be pass-heavy.
Hey, let me invite Cap up here on stage. Cap, how you doing, brother?
Hey,
Hey,
hello,
Hey, man.
Anthony. What's
Where
going
the
on,
heck have
guys?
you been? Where
what's
the
up?
heck have you
Oh,
been?
it's been an adventure down here in Miami, to say the least, my friend. Throughout spring break and the season ender and the draft coming up. Oh crap! I wanted to
Yeah.
hear your thoughts, man. I know you've been going and doing your due diligence, man, and you've been grinding, man, and we've been thanking you for the content. But how do you feel, man? Like, I mean, I know your thoughts towards the draft, but how do you feel going forward? Like, if the draft board does not fall towards us, the clock is ticking. What are you going to do? Are you going to pivot if you don't have the position of need that you want at 13? What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, I'm not too concerned with personally me. Then I'm not the GM, but I just think the Dolphins are going to have to draft impactful players. really matter because we've got needs, especially on the defense everywhere, man. And he's just going to have to hit 3 impactful players. If he doesn't, we're going to be in trouble. We really are. Well, look, this is my expectations of the Miami Dolphins football team for next year. I don't expect them to win more than 6 or 7 games. They'll be lucky if they win 8 games. And that's right now, even, right before the draft. Now, after the draft, if they get those impactful rookies, right, that not just contributors, but impactful players, then I would say we're possibly going to be an 8-9. Maybe we slip by 10 games. But other than that, and if we win 9 or 10 games, Chris Greer is still going to be with his team. We're still going to have the same team, right? As far as the organization goes in the front office. Everybody thinks Chris Greer's on the hot seat. I don't think so. I think Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat more than Chris Greer is. Because
let me put it to you like this. Go ahead,
brother. Go ahead. Put it to me.
I just feel like, and I'm sorry to cut you off because it just feels like
no, you're good.
What you're saying, bro. Because when I hear that, it makes my blood boil because you're absolutely 1,000% right. But my logic going into this season is if they crap the bed and go 0-8 or like 4 games below 500 by the 8th week, and you think the media is rough now, do you think they're going to be soft on him by week 8?
And who? Chris Greer?
Yeah. If that scenario pans out, is what I'm saying.
If that,
what you're saying. Look, the 10-win scenario I want as well. But if the worst case scenario happens and we're getting attacked like we're getting attacked now before the season even starts, what do you think's going to happen?
We all know that.
Let it go.
All we know is Chris Greer is not going to be in the firing range. It's going to be Mike McDaniel's. Is going to be taking all the
Yeah,
come together right now.
That's what I say, Shake. I think Mike McDaniel's more in the hot seat than Chris Greer is.
I think everybody is, man. I don't think they're going to be like, we've been preaching this and they think they haven't heard it, but I know they heard it. Like, they're the ones the first to say the definition of insanity. If you fire one person and not the other, and you're doing the same thing you've been doing for 20 years continuously, I mean, shame on us, fool me once. What is it? Shame on you, fool me twice. I mean,
show me the money.
You get what I'm saying? Show me the money.
Yeah,
man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough one, man.
Hope you're right.
I wanted to pick your brain on that, but I think you're absolutely right. Like, I just think they're gonna pivot towards a way where they're gonna find another scapegoat, just to find a trying to find logic.
Yeah, that's the way I see it, brother. Hey, welcome, Greg Sebring. How you doing, brother?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
What's up, Craig?
Doing
What's on, Greg?
No, not much. I'm getting excited. Unlike this franchise, who I love, the better franchise playing at 11 tonight, and that's the Vegas Golden Knights. That is a real franchise run. So 8 years in the league, 7 have made the playoffs. 4 times they made the Western Conference Finals, 2 Stanley Cups, and they won one. That's how you run a franchise.
Yeah, man.
And
Craig, you know another reason for Alabama for their success, they draft Alabama players.
Oh, don't stop, Shake. Shake, you and I are going to have a long talk about the Alabama players.
Hey, you do know the Panthers play tonight, right?
God. Here we go with the Alabama stuff. It's because he knows I don't want the Alabama quarterback. That's why Shake's giving me a hard time. But I love Shake and I love Anthony. They're my brothers. But no, I think personally, and depending when the Spain trip is, if it say it's week 7, week 8, whenever, depending when If Miami say 2-5, 1-6, whatever, I think they'll. I think
what you say? The Bengals game might be in Spain in week 8 on prime time. Is that what you're saying? Probably.
I didn't say that.
It's looking like a prime time game. I think you're right.
Well, whatever. If we're doing horrible, I think McDaniel doesn't make it back from Spain. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah, something to that aspect might go. You get what I mean? Something drastic might happen. Is what my point is. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
You just can't. You can't. You see other organizations doing this, and we're doing it the opposite. That's not normal.
Nope.
They'll cut bait with somebody real quick.
Yep. And we can't keep doing this. We can't keep rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding. Who's going to want to come here and coach? You'll get some guy that wants to start, but you guys, whenever this happens, I hope it doesn't, but I'm sure it will. You need to go out and get a home run in hiring coaches.
A grand slam. You need a grand slam at this point if things go wrong. I mean, you just can't. You can't do one GM and then the coach and then not the coach and then not the GM and not the. I mean, you got to have one voice at one point. And obviously, right now they got 3 general managers in the war room coming up. Somebody's got to say something if something doesn't work out.
Yep. I mean, you guys know who did I want as my head coach before? Do you remember? Who did I want as my head coach before McDaniel? You remember?
I don't know. I think Steve. I think Steve is to the same point I am too, man. Like, to complain about coaching now is the definition of insanity.
Yeah. No, I wanted Harbaugh, and all you heard is Steve. No, I don't want him to leave Michigan. And what happened the following year? He's gone. And if I was a writer, I'd say, well, you blew that one.
Didn't you want Nick Saban, Craig?
No, I don't want that dictator. No. Would you leave the Alabama stuff alone, Shake? God almighty. No wonder I have nightmares about Alabama stuff.
Tuscaloosa Willie.
Yeah. Nah, they like to harass me because I don't want the Alabama quarterback, and that's fine. It's all good. That's how I look at it. It's all good.
I love you, Craig. It's all good.
Oh, I love you guys too. I love you guys too.
They're saying that dude might get drafted before Shador.
I don't know. Who knows? There's going to be a couple surprises. And I put in the chat, if there's nobody really big there, and I've said it to Shake many times, I'd say trade back.
Yeah,
trade back to about 2021, get a bunch of picks.
Yeah, at this point, I'm cool with that.
I agree. I have to agree with you, Greg. We need more. We need a bunch of picks. We need to acquire more.
Because you just can't do 13, 48, 98. Oh, okay, we're fine. No. We need to trade back, get a bunch more picks. And as far as this Jalen Ramsey situation goes, this point, my feeling is wait till January. Listen to me. Sorry. Wait till June 1st, and either you trade them or you just cut them loose and save money. You trade them now, you're going to lose a bunch of money. Because who's going to really pick up, what is it, 21 million on their so who's going to do that?
I think it's more, actually.
Well, whatever it is. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And
on a 30,
we might.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, on a guy that's going to be 31.
Yeah, he's going to be 31. Like I said, he's in the decline right now, and I saw some flashes of that last year.
Yeah, you did,
and he got a little injured towards the end of the year too.
Yeah,
so but I like that's typical Chris Gear though, man. He gets a guy, pays him all this money. and then he has
Yep.
the gall to extend him. Then he's going to pay and extend Tyreek Hill, right?
Yep.
The guy's
Yeah.
he's a freaking pain in the ass. Excuse my language.
Yep.
You know,
No, he is. You're
you know,
right. He is.
off the field, you know.
Yep.
And then you're going to pay Bradley Chubb, all these guys. How many games did you get out of Bradley Chubb? How many games did you get out of Jalen Ramsey? You know, and then Taron Armstead.
You didn't get
yes,
one.
he was
You didn't get one game out of Bradley Chubb last year.
not one game. You know,
Nope.
and then Tyreek, you bring him over here. Did we get a Super Bowl? Kansas City
Nope.
did. We didn't. Did we even get a playoff win? We didn't. You know, and now we're, I don't know, man. I say just get rid of all these guys, and you know, all the older guys, the guys that have these high contracts, and just start over, because they're basically rebuilding. And he didn't say it, he won't admit it, but we are rebuilding.
Sure we are. You know, and the thing is, even with Tua, I liked it, and Shake and them have heard me say, I like we brought in Zach Wilson.
Chris.
Hey, what's up?
What up, boys?
Yeah, I do too.
What's up?
I do too. Hey, Chris,
I love that we brought in Zach Wilson.
So now you come up on the panel, Jake.
Oh yeah, there's everybody.
Okay.
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
You're not on camera. You don't get on. I would have been came on.
Okay.
Shake looking sharp too, baby.
I love that we got Zach Wilson, and I think in the third or fourth round, well, maybe the fourth round with our 2 picks, I say draft a quarterback.
Man, you think Chris Greer is going to draft a quarterback?
Oh, I mean, I think they might go 4th round, 5th round, maybe they'll take.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Go 4th round. They've heard me say, you know who I like? I like the kid from Syracuse, McCord.
Yeah, everybody does.
Ford?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
You know who I like? And I have seen film of him too. The only thing is he gets injured, you know, but I don't know. But a tough kid, man, and he's pro ready right now. And if people won't believe me, but Tyler Shaw, whatever.
Oh, I like him.
You had me at Louisville. He gets injured.
For Louisville,
he gets injured. That's right up our alley, Steve. That's right.
There you go.
Special. He gets injured. Bring him home, baby. That's one of our guys.
The thing is, he's a man. He's 6'5", I think, 225, 30 pounds, maybe a little bigger.
Hey, he's the one. He's the one that had the shootout with the Canes.
Yeah, I think so. Did he play for Louisville? Right?
Yeah, there was like a 40-something game that game. Yeah, it was a shootout, man.
That guy's good, man.
Yeah,
it was against Cam. I think it was against Cam.
Yeah, he's mobile. He's got a rocket arm, and he plays in the pro style offense.
I mean, listen, if you're gonna give me size, mobility, and arm strength, and say, hey, give that to Mike McDaniel and let him have his time with it, I think that's a good practice as a guy in the middling rounds to see what you can shake, you know, or for what you can shake money it. You know what I'm saying? What you can shake loose with the money. You know, Mike McDaniel. I like Mike McDaniel. I think there's more to be wanting as far as he's not free of criticism. He's got plenty of it. But all in all, with these new age young coaches, I mean, how much better are you really going to get outside of like a veteran head coach becoming available? Right.
Yeah.
You know, to say, hey, we're going to go and roll the dice on another offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. I don't think you're going to expect any more than what you're getting from Mike McDaniel in a 3-year sample size. We might as well just ride it out with homie. You know what I'm saying? Personally. Yeah. Now, if he completely loses this locker room and this team and they all turn on him and the office turns on him, then he'll have made his own bed. But until then, I say, you know, let the guy hang out.
Chris, what if Chucky becomes available or something like that scenario happens? And we don't have like a emergency break the glass type of move, and you know, what do we do?
I don't think Chucky wants to ever coach again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here's the thing, right? if and when Mike McDaniel becomes on a hot seat, the opportunities of whom is going to be available for us to choose from in the coaching carousel will present themselves. Because chances are, if Mike McDaniel's lost his job, it's because we have a lot of losses, in which case we would have a nice top draft pick, and which is partly enticing to new hire coaches. Hey, you get a quarterback, get to pick quarterback, and you got a top pick to find one. And that kind of sells itself a little bit with either A, coaches that are available that have been cast off from other teams, or B, new guy on the block,
New age,
his bones, given a little something to play with, right? Whether he's a defensive guy and wants to go defense or offensive guy, you still have a top 10 pick potentially. But in the meantime, I would rather that just all stay with Mike McDaniel. I would rather this team win 3 games and Mike McDaniel be retained as the coach and brought in a quarterback to fit the system with the size profile he's going to want or hopefully want. I don't know if this guy's dumb enough to go with a smaller quarterback because of then that's on him, right? Then we'll deal with that when that comes, right? But
the thing I've tried to explain to people, Tua was basically thrown on him.
Not really.
You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Get out of here.
I don't think Tua was thrown on him.
He wanted somebody else. He didn't want no damn Alabama quarterback.
I think you're projecting a little bit there.
So who was on the private jet?
No, I'm just having fun with Shake. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm messing with Shake, and he knows that. No, I'm sure he did. I'm messing with Shake.
Yeah, no.
Is this Craig?
You're the man.
Yes.
It's Craig. That's all right. Craig, you son of a.
Love me some Craig.
But if we can't, all joking aside, if we can't get like who we want or that, or if worse come to be, and I'll tell you what if Shador falls to us? Then you trade back.
That's right.
And say, okay, who wants him? Like a Pittsburgh or somebody?
Hey, hold it. If I would get him, him and use him as trade bait.
Steve.
Use him as trade bait.
But
you don't
using
think
him
you
as
can get some?
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think you can do that in year one, can you? I don't think that's.
No.
So Steve, and I'm going to ask, is this what you mean by trade bait? Because if you're talking about a pseudo long play move and you go, I'm taking Shador, and then you now first round comes and goes and you say, who wants Shador? Now there's no first rounders in the 2025 draft, but somebody might go, I'll give you my first rounder for 2026 and 2026 second and 2025 second, and maybe some cheddar on top, right? Maybe if you're talking somebody's going to get stupid and give me future assets like that, it would be
stupid out there.
Yeah, but it would be a bold. It would be a bold play, because if you got stuck with Shador and nobody wanted to trade for him, now you've got the Shador Sanders Tua Tagovailoa typhoon show in Miami, and I don't think anyone could make it. I think we probably won't have a football team in 2 years with that kind of sideshow.
I mean, if Greer was going to be like, yeah, I know I'm going to get axed if I don't make the right stuff, I'm going to leave you guys a little parting gift on the way out, something like that.
Oh. Chris Greer getting petty on his way out. I don't know. I don't think he'd do that.
Nah, I don't think so.
What did you think, Chris? What did you think about the Chris Greer press conference?
I think it was the craziest press conference I've ever seen in my life, because first of all, it was essentially a press conference to say that we're trading Jalen Ramsey from the jump. It was the weirdest start of it. It was almost like the Dolphins because the Dolphins released the fact that they were open up trades with him on the same day, or was it the same day or the day before?
Yes,
it was the same day.
It was the same day. They released it
that morning
with a press conference coming up later. So that's first of all, that's a Miami Dolphins move to control the narrative, to not field the questions they don't want. So it was a 30-minute long presser. There's probably about 8 questions to 10 questions asked. Half of the time was about Jalen Ramsey, and the guy's still on the team. It doesn't even make any sense why they did that, other than for how it played out. So that's number one. Number two, the other weird thing is that not one question from the beat reporters who report. Now, here's the thing, guys. We're entering into a fake news media realm here in Miami. No bullshit. Sorry for swearing, Steve. I'm trying to watch my tongue. But how are you writing articles that the fans want to read and don't ask one question about the quarterback of the team? Not one? Not one?
Absolutely.
How is that even possible? How is that even possible? How is the media not pressing him going, hey, what's up with Tua? You paid him. He's making his money this year. Didn't play last year. Is he on the hot seat? Are you looking to draft quarterback? What are you planning on doing? Are you filling the hot seat? What about Mike McDaniel? These are the real questions fans want to know, and they didn't ask any of it.
100%.
They didn't ask any of it. What are we doing?
I'll tell you what, Kat.
I agree.
He seemed so defeated. Looking at his face in that, listen to him.
I got a guy that don't give a damn. I got a buddy on cruise control.
Hey, Omar says that he had that meeting pre-planned already for a couple of weeks throughout the media, and Poupart backed him up on it. But I mean, it's still like.
What does that mean?
I get it, but it's still like what you say. It's like to have that with the timing of this. It's like it doesn't look good. It don't look good at all, whether you had it pre-planned or not.
They could have easily held off for 10 seconds
they doubled down.
The question.
No, they doubled down.
The thing. Double down. Cap, they could have not released the Jalen Ramsey stuff until after.
No, they doubled down because they're letting you know business is open.
Did you see that?
What the hell was that? Yeah.
What the hell was that?
What the heck was that?
You put your hands in the air like
my camera sometimes does some stuff. Oh, look. Yeah, watch, it'll do this too. It'll do that. Hold on. Is that it? Is that what it does? Yep. See, it'll do that.
Oh,
it'll do this.
Crazy.
What is going on here, bro?
It'll do this.
That's awesome, man.
Thumbs up. Come on, stupid thing. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Sometimes it just does some stuff.
But it's just frustrating. And I'll always support the team. But when you hear like a press conference like that, like I said, the guy sounded defeated. Oh,
he did.
I was fourth.
And then it sounded like a guy that knew the questions and knew that this was just, it was blah.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know if I heard defeated mentality in that. I saw the guy who kind of slipped up when he was like, we got leaders on this team, Zach Sealer, and
he couldn't name, he didn't even name the franchise quarterback.
You mean Tyreek Hill? Shit. Tyreek Hill was just in the news for some crazy stuff. I mean, Jalen Waddle. Man. Yeah, there's some guy we paid. We got Jalen Ramsey. Oh, wait, that's right. He's being traded. He just seemed like a guy not kind of checked out. I would agree with you on that, Craig. But a guy defeated.
Wow. Like I said, it'll all depend where we're at. And I'm telling you, he's got
that vibe, bro. Like he don't give a bleep right now. Like he's just it is what it is.
I'm feeling that. Like I talked about this a couple hours ago. I don't see how Mike McDaniel or Chris Grier are moving in any way, shape, and form as people that are worried about losing their job. Not even a little bit. If it's not even close. Now that might be because he's already lost his job and this is the lame duck year and they're going to hang everything on Chris Grier and or Mike McDaniel and they already know. And Brandon Shore is slated to come in and be the new GM. And
you think he'll be the new GM?
I think no matter who the new GM is, it'll be an internal hire type thing.
Yeah.
It won't really
Yeah,
matter.
I
think you're
It'll
right.
remain the
I think
collective.
you're right.
You have 2 in house already.
It'll remain the collective because as much as we don't like the way things are going in a football aspect, they love the way things have been going in a business aspect. So
I bet they do. I bet they do.
But man, those things will change if you're at the end of the year and say you're, I don't know, 5-10, you got 2 home games left, and the stadium's half empty, better change then.
Yeah, the only way it could change is if we make a change.
Yep.
Michael Jackson, bro.
I don't think we can. I think I think Stephen Ross and the collective and the business acumen, whomever he hired, whatever they put together, they have the perfect formula to break down, build, sell, cash out, and rinse and repeat. They have the best 7-8 year formula I have ever seen in all of sports in my entire life. It is downright. If it wasn't happening to me, I would marvel at it, but I'm victim to it. So I'm spiteful.
Well, wasn't he a number of months ago?
But it's victimizing me.
Wasn't it a number of weeks ago? Stephen Ross was offered like $9 billion for the team. Oh no, he keeps bullshit. Pardon my French. He keeps bullshitting. I won a Super Bowl. Well, then prove it.
No.
I'm saying
he sold a percentage of the team, equating to what would be sold.
10%.
$1.5 billion. Well, he sold 10% at a little over 850 million, but it actually is part of a prorated contract that equates to 15%. The problem is, what's funny is that how they've set up the contract. They're going to get 15% of lesser value because the team is losing value now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. As far as the red orange carpet with the majority owners that we have, how much of a percentage does that add up to? Maybe 5?
No, because they'll still have a 10% lock for the purchase value of it. They'll get their remaining 5%. How diluted that 5% is, I don't really know, because what their purchase rate is from now that they signed for, they're losing the value of because of the teams losing in value.
Yeah, you remember it was Estefan, it was Fergie, it was the Serena Williams, it was the Williams sisters.
They all bought
Mark Anthony.
Yeah, but
There's very little
purse percentages. Those are purse percentages. That's like
very little.
It's like shares, right?
Yeah.
It's really nothing. They buy it for really, and I wouldn't be surprised if all of those shares were gifted to them as celebrity endorsements to boost the value. See, here's the thing, guys, and I'm gonna run here in a minute, but here's the thing: this has been a grift since Jump Street. All this real estate mogul has done is taken an asset and property and learn how to reassess its value and cash out every 7 to 8 years. He's been doing it since he got it. It was in the beginning when he bought the team, he raised the value really high to get his investment back to start selling, right? To get the thing. Then then that was with they hired the big tuna to be the guy that does all the football operations. He brings in Scribano, blah, 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 blah. Then they bring it up. The value is there. Reset the assets. Then he starts saying, oh, I want to build a stadium. That's what he says. He wants to redo the stadium. Couldn't get the funds. What does he do? He then overinflates the value of the team with paying Ndamukong Suh $100 million because now that's $100 million in assets to something. Now he doesn't have to pay for it all right now. He could pay for it over the next 6-7 years. But right now the team's assets have just jumped up $100 million. That's how that works. And then he loaned against it, built the stadium, got the stadium, broke it down, rebuilt it back up, sold it again and again. That's how this guy has done. If you look at all the things he's done, he has been super successful as a businessman, terrible as a winning franchise. And
but guess what? Time's running out for him.
Time's running out for what?
I hear he's 84.
For what? He doesn't care about time running out. First of all,
Just saying, his time is running out. Yeah, you can do that. But the daughter has already stated she doesn't want the team.
I don't care about that either. I
He
mean,
doesn't care
No.
about
I'm
that.
telling you, time's running. You can only do that. He could die tomorrow, and then what? Who owns the team then? Not the daughter. She stated she doesn't want the team.
I mean, I don't know. To me,
I'm
that
just making a statement.
if time, I don't know.
Thanks.
Well, I forget who it was exactly that bought 10%, but I do know they own other sports teams.
Wasn't it one of his partners?
Yes, but the guy, when you say one of his partners, he's got partners everywhere, like globally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
But it was
ridiculous to
somebody who was part of his organization. I
No,
guess you want to say.
I would imagine they have some form of business dealing. I just read it the other day who bought the 10%. It's some other sports team owner. I can't remember exactly, but
yeah.
Oh, isn't it like one of the English teams? I think he owns like one of the.
I want to say they own a basketball team.
Oh, that
like an
could be
NBA
too.
team.
Yeah.
I want to say they own an NBA team and like a hockey team. It's like a family that owns sports teams.
Sports teams.
So they bought 10%. So I can't remember it off the top of my head. But all right, Steve, I'm sliding out of here. I gotta go get
All right,
ready.
brother. Hey, appreciate
All
you
right.
stopping by, man.
No
Thank
problem,
you.
man. I seen you live. Drop the link. Figured I'd slide through with the homies, man. I'll see you later.
All right, man. I appreciate that, brother.
Later, Craig. Later, everybody. Cap.
See you later, Cap. I'll see you draft night because I like to watch him on draft night.
Yeah.
And that, but
we've got Fence Talk Sports Network that I'm a part of. They're going to have they'll be having a draft night for those 3 nights as well. So just in case, just want to let everybody know if you do want to drop by, that we do a really good draft show over here as well for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But listen,
for Saturday.
Saturday too. We do all 3 nights. Hey, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody that's joined in the chat, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys that have joined the panel tonight. I'm going to have to close it down though, but I do appreciate
I want to get going myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
My team's coming on. My team's coming on in a couple hours. So,
who's that?
Vegas Golden Knights. Remember I mentioned
Right. Yeah. Got you, Greg. Hey, thanks, Greg, for dropping by, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. And make sure you join the show or check the show out next Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern time. Real Talk Fence Talk. We have a show every Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern time. So
all right, take care, my friend.
All right, man. I think everybody is all right, brother. Thank you. I think everybody's gone, so I'm gonna close up shop. Appreciate it again, guys. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that little bell down there, subscribe. And like I said, I'll be on again next Tuesday. Won't be Tuesday therapy, but I'll be a panel show. I'll have some guests on. And so 7:30 Eastern time, Real Talk Fins Talk next Tuesday. Appreciate it, everyone. And God bless. Peace out.